Okay, I'm going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Tanika McCray. I am one of the immigration specialists here at Temple University. I also have Sanad Badmith on. In the event you have any questions in the chat, he'll respond to them. OPT information session, Office of International Student Scholar Services. We have four advisors, Gabriella, Sanad, Takiko, and myself. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is what is OPT? OPT is a temporary employment that's directly related to your F1 major and area of study. OPT is you're also considered as an F1 student while you're on OPT. Many students think that once they graduate their program, they're no longer in F1 status. That is not correct. You are still an F1 student until you complete the program. We have a pre-completion OPT. Pre-completion OPT is applicable to students who intend to do a paid training while they are pursuing a degree. And you also have post-completion OPT, which is applicable to students who intend to do a paid or non-paid training after they complete their program. You have a total of 12 months on OPT per degree level. So you can do OPT on a bachelor's, master's, and PhD level. You have STEM extension OPT, which is a 24-hour extension period for students with a STEM major. So what will happen is you would do OPT first for the first 12 months, then you would apply for a STEM extension for the additional 2 years. Okay. So the eligibility and requirements for OPT. You must have enrolled in a degree program for at least 1 year, fall, spring semester. You do not need a job offer in order to apply for OPT. That is not required to apply for OPT. You may have your visa expired when you apply for OPT. That's not a problem. However, your passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months prior to you applying for OPT. That's very important. You must remain registered for any full-time courses or study while you are engaged in pre-completion OPT, except for the summer. You don't have to be registered during the summertime. Give me one moment. Just want to make sure I have everyone logged in. Okay, great. Exchange students who are not going to complete the program at Temple may not receive authorization. You must contact Casey from Global Programs. He will then provide you with a specific code that we need to put on your I-20 in order to process the OPT for you. So if you are an exchange program with DBMD Global Programs, you need to contact Casey and let him know that you want to apply for OPT, and he'll provide us with the correct information that's needed to be put on your I-20. For CPT, if you use 12 months of full-time CPT during your current program of study, you are no longer eligible for OPT. Okay, so if you use full-time 12-month CPT, you are not eligible for OPT. Any full-time CPT less than 12 months does not affect your eligibility. So if you use 11 months and 2 weeks, you're fine. You can do OPT. It's not until you hit that 12th month of CPT, you are not qualified for OPT. So pre-completion OPT, part-time, it will also deduct from your post-completion by half. Okay, so example, if you did 4 months of part-time pre-completion, it's going to deduct half of that, which is 2 months, away from your 12-month post-OPT. Okay, so you'll only have 8 months of post-OPT. If you did pre-completion full-time for 4 months, then it will deduct 4 months from your post-OPT. So then you will have, 8 months of OPT left. Okay, so that's very important to know if you have done CPT classes in the past, work authorization in the past. Any amount of OPT, if you apply for pre-OPT and you wanted it for 6 months and it was approved for 6 months and you only work 3 months, you're going to have that 6 months on as far as work authorization. Okay, so any amount of OPT that was granted to you and you used it, whether you use it or not, is used, so you can't get it back. Now, I would like to, does anyone have any questions as of yet? If so, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Okay, I'm going to go to the next process, OPT application. Oh, if anyone has a question, you can ask a question because I'm not necessarily paying attention to your hand raised.
Okay. I just had a question on the previous slide. I just wanted to understand how part-time work affects my OPT and CPT.
Okay, so
Because
part-time work.
I've been doing part-time work at the university for about 5-6 months now.
Under CPT?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're doing part-time work under CPT, then however many months you would divide it by half.
Okay.
And that's the deduction of what you would have for OPT.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if it's full time, it's half of that. You take it off, and that's what you'll have left for OPT.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Oh, I do want to mention, if you have any really specific questions that's personal, if you can send that in an email, that would be helpful because I don't want to talk about too much personal specific questions with everyone in the group. If we have general questions, I'd appreciate if we could keep it that way. All right, I don't want anyone to get offended or anything about anything. Okay, so the next step is the OPT application process. This is the actual process for when you want to apply for OPT. Many students come to our office for the application process, and you don't have to. Everything is on our website. First thing is to submit the application for OPT to our office. The second thing is that our office will process your OPT, review everything, give you any recommendations that's required, send it back to you within an email along with further instructions. That will take about 7 to 10 business days. After that, you will make the updates if required. Then you submit the application online to USCIS. You want to do that within 30 days of us generating your I-20. That's super important. If you wait longer, it's going to be denied. So then you have to contact us so we can cancel that I-20 and resubmit a new one for you to submit to USCIS. So make sure you're submitting that document within 30 days of us issuing it to you. After you do that, USCIS will review it within 1 to 3 months estimated. You'll receive an approval, your EAD card, come in the mail within about 2 weeks after that. You will receive an email stating that you've been approved or denied, and you will receive an email letting you know your EAD card has been mailed out. The next step is the actual OPT application documents that's required. This is super important because about 9 times out of 10 students that I review OPT applications do not submit the I-765 form to me. And then I have to send the email and say, hey, number 1 says I-765 form, could you submit it? Because I want to see it to make sure that you have the right document, the proper information listed. so you won't have any problems when you submit it to USCIS. Okay, so please make sure you download this form, submit it to us, so you won't have any problems. Make sure you have a copy of any CPT or OPT you've done in the past, and I-20s you received from former schools. Okay, they want a copy of any previous CPT or OPT that you've done in the past. A copy of your passport, F1 visa, and I-94 is, you must upload that as well. If you do not have your I-94, you can go to that website and print it out. If there's a mistake up there, let us know and we can get it fixed for you. US passport photograph, just like in your passport, you need the same type of picture, 2x2. The fee for this is $470. And other supporting documents, if any, for example, a copy of your EAD card if you've received one in the past, or change of status, or any prior approval notices, you want to update that as well. Now, I also want to add in here that there is a premium processing option if you want your OPT processed within 45 business days. That is an option. However, it's an additional fee and it's $1,685. But your document will be processed within 45 days. Do we have any questions about this OPT application documents?
I have a question.
Yes.
If we don't send it with the premium process, how long it takes normally for the USs to respond if you are approved for the OPT?
I'm sorry, Tanika, there is an issue with your mic.
Yeah, I couldn't hear either. Sorry.
So I can answer that while Tanika is fixing her issue with the mic. So usually, as of now, it takes around 2 to 3 months for USCIS to process your application, I-765. However, I should say that Temple is not the only school that has international students in the US. Like around 1 million applicants of international students are applying for post-completion OPT annually, meaning that USCIS will have a very, very high demand of applications. So it can take up to 3 months for you to receive your employment authorization document. So we highly advise all of you who are present here to apply for OPT as soon as possible, first with our office and then with USCIS. So earlier you do this, better for you, because you won't be able to officially start working without your EAD card, without a work permit. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Hanan. I'm back now?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. So the I-765 form is very specific. If you are applying for the pre-completion, you want to make sure you put that specific code, C3A, C3B, and C3C for each OPT level that you are applying for. The IIS OPT application form itself is a link that's on our website. You just click on the link and it'll have all the information, instructions that's required. You'll upload the documents to your OPT application. There's a section that your academic advisor must complete. So you want to make sure you contact your advisor and have him or her complete this form for you. That form allows us to It's actually just specifies your completion date, your major, coming from the academic advisor. So we'll have the correct information for your OPT as well. Once your advisor submits the form online, our office will be able to review the documents and issue your OPT at that time. Okay, so we have important post-completion OPT dates that you want to definitely take heed to. You can submit your application to US anytime between 90 days from your program completion date up until 60 days after your program completion date. Okay, so for folks right now that's graduating in May, right now you can submit your application all the way up until May, June, July, say 9th. If your graduation date is May 9th, then you have until July 9th to apply for OPT. 60 days after, that's the cutoff. Your program completion date is not the date of your graduation ceremony. It is the date you complete all of your program requirements. So that is one of the reasons why we want the academic advisor to complete that form, because a lot of students confuse that date. They'll give us the graduation date, but not the date you actually complete your program. Now, some places, some departments, it could be the same date, but we'll verify that on the academic advisor form. USCIS needs to receive and process your application information in their system before the 61st day, as I mentioned. So anything after the 60th day, you won't even be eligible anymore. Your OPT start date can be any time within the 60 day after your program completion date. Okay. And USCIS typically takes about 1 to 2 months, but around this time it's definitely a little longer. So as Sanan mentioned previously. While you are waiting for your authorization, you can stay in the U.S. Even if it's after your 60-day grace period is over. You're waiting for an approval, you're in status, you can stay in the States. Sometimes it could take USCIS a little longer to process your OPT application. That's fine. You're still legal, you're still an F1 student, and you can stay. Okay, you must start working within 90 days of your approved OPT start date. So you graduate in May, you have your start date as July 20th. You get your OPT approved and everything. By July 20th, you need to start working. If you don't have a job, that's okay because you have 90 days of unaccrued unemployment. So within that 90 days, you have to find a job. If you don't find a job within the 90 days, then your OPT is null and void. And then you would have to either leave the States or apply for another school or change a level. But you cannot accrue more than 90 days of unemployment during a 12-month period of OPT. Do we have any questions about this?
I do have another question.
Sure.
What is the day where we complete the program requirements? Is when we finish classes or when we finish exams?
It should be when you finish all of your coursework requirements. So if the requirement is for you to take the final or your exam, then it'll be after that. But your academic advisor is going to specify that. And if you're not sure, you should talk to your academic advisor also.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
I also have a question.
Sure.
You mentioned that we have 90 days for the unemployment date, right? But I thought we have another 60 days for the extension. Could you clarify on that?
Sure. So for post OPT, you have 90 days of unemployment. But for STEM OPT, that's different. You have an additional 60 days. So you have a total of 150 days for STEM. But that won't apply until you apply for STEM. That doesn't apply during the 12 months of OPT.
Okay, got it. So it's kind of like the first one, the 1 year OPT, you have 90 days of unemployment. And once you get that approved, you will have another 60 days for the STEM extension, which is 2 years, right?
Right.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. I'll move on to post-completion OPT date examples. So we get a lot of questions about how should, what date should I put for my OPT? So you figure, this is a little breakdown here. You have 90 days before your program completion date to apply for OPT. So your program completion date, say, is May 6th. You have as early as February 7th to apply and as late as July 5th to apply. So your 60 days after your program completion date would be July 5th. So anytime between May 7th and July 5th is the date you can put for your OPT start date, okay? So those are just example dates. You can actually submit your actual date and then do the configuration that way. But between that 60-day time frame is when you have to put an actual OPT start date. Okay, and then of course, like I mentioned before, 91 days after your OPT, you're out of status and you can't apply anymore. Okay, are we clear with this? And if not, if you have any questions, please ask. All right, I'm going to go to travel. You may have some difficulties traveling outside while you're on OPT if it's still pending. However, CBP may ask to see proof of your OPT approval, your EAD card, and even a job offer if your application is pending. If your application is pending, you can travel. However, we require you to travel with your F1 visa, your passport, I-20 for your OPT with the signature, and a copy of your OPT receipt. Now, if you're abroad and your OPT application is approved while you are abroad, that's okay also. However, you must have a job offer letter and your EAD card on you in order to come back into the States. So you want to be careful when you travel out of the States, depending on when you apply for your OPT application. So like I mentioned, it can take about 2 to 3 months for your OPT to be approved. So if you apply for your OPT today, you travel for about a month, you're pretty much fine. You could come back because your OPT is not going to be approved that fast. So take that into consideration if you're planning to travel after you apply for your OPT application. You can do it, but just make sure you're, you have the documents you need to come back with no problems. Are we clear with that? Any questions about that? All right, so I'm going to go to employment. Your job must be related to your major field of study. You're recommended to maintain evidence for each job that you receive, the duration, the title, supervisor information, and the description of your job. If it's not clear that the job that you're working on is related to your degree, we would want you to talk to the hiring supervisor or manager and get a letter to specify how it's actually related to the work, to the job, your major actually. Okay, so employment, you can work full-time, part-time, you can volunteer, and it doesn't have to be paid also. All of these options will keep your OPT status maintained as long as it's 20 hours or more per week. Okay, if one job is secured to maintain OPT status, that's fine. You can take a volunteer work that is not related to a major. Okay, so all paid jobs must be related to your field. If you say, I can't find a job right now, but I have a volunteer position for a couple of months, that's fine. However, that volunteer position, if your major is engineering, the volunteer position cannot be engineering. The volunteer position can be, I don't know, gardening or giving back to the community or something like that, but it cannot be within the field that you obtained your major. So that's very important. And I also want to let you know to beware of employment scams. We had a student previously that was scammed as far as employment. It just sounded shaky. Everything was verbal, nothing was written. And then he had to pay some money to this organization to get hired. That's usually not how it works. So be aware of that, and you should not provide any services for any employers without an official job letter in writing, and you should not provide any services with just a verbal promise. You want to make sure everything's written to cover yourself. Okay. Okay, so while you're on OPT, you can study. However, only for a part-time or non-matriculated, non-certificate program. You cannot study towards a degree-seeking program. Okay, that's not allowed. Post-completion OPT has to stop when you enroll in a matriculated or certificate course. So be mindful of that. You can study part-time, non-matriculated, in a non-certificate program only. Any questions about that? Okay. So after you received your OPT and you have a job, you want to do the OPT reporting form. So when your application for OPT is approved and OPT has begun, you'll receive an email from SEVP letting you know that you have access to the SEVIS portal now. After your OPT is approved and you have found a job, you must report your employment into the SEVIS portal. Now, they'll send it to you, they usually send it to you once your OPT is approved, okay? And then you have 10 days to go in and upload and update your information. After that, if you haven't found the job and you have not uploaded your documents, you need to provide us with the OPT reporting form, and then we can submit the employment for you. Okay? So USCIS may terminate your SEVIS record if you do not report unemployment within a 90-day time frame. So you want to be careful with that. If you notice you're accruing more time than you wanted to. Okay, so we have options for you after you complete your OPT. When you successfully complete your OPT, you do have a 60-day grace period, just like your program completion date. You can stay in the States 60 days, travel wherever you like. During this time, you can, request to transfer to another school, change your level, submit a change of status, or prepare to go home if that's your option. Do we have any questions? All right. Also, students, employers will sponsor them for H-1B. This happens often. H-1B is a visa that will allow U.S. companies to employ foreign workers to work in occupations, specific occupations. If your employer wants to hire you, that's pretty much between you and your employer. You would talk to, they have the offer letter, then you go to their human resources department, and there's just certain documents and that you have to provide to them, and they will do all of that work for you. We don't have anything to do with that side. However, once you apply for H-1B, if there's a gap between when your OPT ends and when the H-1B begins, that's called a gap extension. So you would contact our office to have it added onto the I-20 once the H-1B extension has been filed. Okay, so you let us know that, we'll add it to the I-20, and then you're fine. Once the H-1B starts, usually in October 1st, then you're no longer F1 student, you're H-1B visa holder. And do you have any questions about that? Okay. All right, so that pretty much covers everything. If you have any questions about anything I covered, please ask. I encourage everyone to visit our website for OPT processing. There's a lot of information up there as well. And we will be posting this video as well. So please ask any questions that you have.
So no questions, right?
No questions? No?
Okay, before we end our presentation, thank you, Tanika, very much for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Great information for our students. So I
Yes.
have a few things to say. So during appointments with students, I encounter this issue a lot. So a lot of students are anxious and worried about the job search and, like the whole situation about Tanika, we can see your screen. We can I like a lot of things that people anxious about the employment and jobs and stuff. So I just want to say that you all are excellent because you already made it here. You're already graduating from one of the best universities in Pennsylvania. So that's a great thing. And also about H-1B, right? So we mentioned that. However, I have to say that H-1B is not the only way for you guys to legalize here for the immigration status that you can receive. So for that questions, for that consultations regarding immigration status after F1, we have partnered with 2 immigration law firms here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and they provide our international students with free 30-minute consultation. So in the chat, I will send you guys an information about that. So I encourage all of you to utilize this benefit and consult with the immigration attorneys that we have, so you can have a better understanding of what kind of immigration relief, immigration benefit you can get while you still have an F1 status. So in regards to the consultation, it's free, 30 minutes. So everyone should utilize this benefit, and as far as you are still a Temple student. So for the consultation with immigration attorney, I used to work at an immigration law firm. So clients, potential clients, and you students are potential clients of these 2 law firms. You have to bring your resume, you have to bring your portfolio for the immigration lawyers to take a look at your chances for O visa or national interest waiver, EB2 visa, EB3 visa, EB4. There are so many options for you guys to consider. So I just want you to assure that H-1B is not the only thing that you can consider. And to be honest with you, H-1B is not the best option because it keeps you it keeps you with the same employer for a long time, and you cannot leave, and you will have to just deal with that kind of employers, and employers can be different and can be hard, So I encourage all of you to schedule a consultation with immigration attorney from these 2 reputable law firms and consider your options. But don't forget to bring your resume, your portfolio, and prepare questions for the immigration attorney as well. And on that note, I just want to say that you all are talented, you all are excellent students, and we're very thankful that you are here and you made it to till your graduation. So thank you for that.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Sanan.
Sure.
All right. And if we don't have any other questions or anything, we can conclude this OPT session. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.